have significantly complete by the end of the training. You can do it on the phone, you can do it in person, and somebody else in the class will be coaching you. Lifelong friendships have occurred out of this, and people get tremendous amounts of skills, and you can always ask, so okay, I'm trying this and I'm not really getting
I was just
anywhere.
going to ask you about that.
Yeah,
Do
so
you have like a coaching for coaching?
Yeah, you have a coach, and you are coaching somebody. And if you're having any stuck spots, we're going to have Nancy, Dimitri, and John available to give you ideas. And if they don't have an idea, you can ask us. And we hope that it is the most difficult ruling process of your life. Because, well, okay, I've had, this is the year I've had for incredibly walk out on the plank kind of clients. I mean, I had the 4.5-year-old with cancer. That went fine. Did I know it was going to go fine? Absolutely not. I worked with 8-year-olds. You ask me about an 8-year-old, I go piece of cake. You ask me about a 4.5-year-old, and I'm going, I have no idea, but I'm certainly willing to give it a shot. Well, this week, I had someone fly in to work for a few hours, someone who is famous, and someone who had been the target of a several-year hate attack, including real death threats and having to be snuck out of certain countries to avoid being killed. I mean, and so she has what they thought was post-traumatic stress disorder to the Zooey, and she worked with several people, and she was really, really, really finding it difficult to do anything. And this is a woman that has like Fulbright Scholar, nominated for a Pulitzer, has won really significant awards, very famous person. So you hear I'm really keeping the details about who this person is. I had no idea if I was going to be able to help her. And she flew in for this. And we rocked. Fortunately, her husband was here, so that worked out even better, and everything was done together, and I did not have a clue. We worked 2 hours on one day, 3 hours on the next. I had no idea if I could really, really, really help. But I also knew that if anybody could be creative enough to jump off the limb and make a big difference. I mean, it's not like I haven't worked with people that have been through serious, serious stuff before. It's like I've got history to draw on, but not that kind of history to draw on. And it rocked. I was fine up until the night before she arrived. And then I was like, Jeff, how do I mean, I've never worked with anybody I've worked with people that have survived really bad things. And I've worked with people with post-traumatic stress disorder from the Gulf War and stuff like that. What happened to her is so far beyond post-traumatic stress disorder. And you know, on one hand, part of me is saying, oh my God, I wish this whole thing was videotaped because I don't know even half of the stuff that I did. But she's completely different now. She's sending me emails about the amazing transformation. Her husband is sending her emails about the amazing. And I'm just sitting back at the end of the second session. I was like, wow, I'm beginning to see the Nobel Prize nominee and the Pulitzer Prize nominee and another really important prize that she did win. I mean, this is a really famous high-cloud person whose life was, up until a couple of days ago, destroyed. Did I really think I could make, I knew I could make a difference. Could I do make that much? It was only because I did it. You know? And the only reason I didn't say no is because I knew the level of people she'd already worked with, and they recommended me. So really good people said, he can help. some really tough times in this coaching. Because then, after you've been through a few tough times, you'll be able to, somebody that important can call and say, I need it, and you're like, oh, they're asking for me, somebody said I'd be good at it, and I can't think of anyone else to send them. So, regardless of my feelings in the matter, I'm saying yes, I will work with you. I don't know, I made no promises, I was really clear that I didn't know what we were gonna get when we were talking, because, you know, they're talking hotels and airfare and all that stuff, and so I really hope you have some really tough moments in the coaching circle, because it will make you able to do so much more later on. If somebody sails to the coaching without any big deal, it's like, I sit back going, shit, they're not gonna know about the shit that they have to go through in themselves to get great later on. Because what you do when you're really doing really great work is you make stuff up. Which goes on to the other thing, and this is where people really graduate. There is a really cool part of the practitioner training where we ask you to form a group of any size other than one to invent your own NLP process. And it's all about making sure you're paying attention to the structure of a problem rather than the story of a problem. So we've been working a lot on the fundamentals, getting the language patterns, I access and cues. We're going to be doing anchoring, maybe some this afternoon, rapport skills, the beliefs, all that stuff. Those are like the key toolbox. After this weekend, the majority of time we'll be learning a process that's really good for something that fits this structure, and then a process that fits this structure, and a process that fits that structure, and a process that fixes that structure. When I say fixes that structure, it's the structure of the problem. Like if somebody has a real phobia, it's a piece of cake. It's 20 minutes if you're working slow. It really is, because the structure of phobia is very consistent. And we know how to change the structure so it's not a phobia anymore. Now, if you actually try to deal with the story of the phobia, that might take 20 years of transactional analysis and, you know, sleeping with a book of Freud every night. But to actually just unhook the phobia is nothing, because it's the structure that we're playing with. So in order for you guys to experience structure, you can get in a little group of 2 or 3. I don't think we've ever had a group bigger than 3. And they decide they want to invent a process. And they do. John and your group, you came up with a really good one, remember? Yeah, I mean, I've used that all the time, especially like with young adults, especially the girls that want to have the fantastic closet. And you came up with the shaman one once. Were you in the closet one? What process did you come up with?
With, I think, I'm trying to remember, I think the 8 people coaching you, sort of similar actually to...
Yeah.
I think getting resources from... No, this was...
Because you were involved with more than one of them, so...
No, I'm trying to remember which one was...
Some of them have been so good that I've taught them at NLP conferences and saying, look what my practitioners did.
Is that the next level or this level?
No, that's this one. After next month, you decide, you get a whole month to think about what do I want to create. And then you get to pick who you want to create with and see if you guys get an idea. But hopefully, if we really finish all the meta model stuff today, you guys can start Coaching Circle tomorrow night. And that basically means there are no more homework assignments on the internet. There's no more homework assignments that you invent on your own. Your homework is to coach one person around some significant goal of theirs. However you work that out, if it's a half-hour phone call or you get together for coffee, fine by us. And be coached by someone else. And it is absolutely not required to do the coaching circle. If you don't do the coaching circle, we've only had a couple of people that haven't, and they're the ones that always struggle when it comes to the testing weekend. So it's really your choice. It's all options here.
So we're coaching someone that's outside of our class?
No, you might be coaching Kevin Kevin might be coaching Nicole, Nicole might be coaching Francesco, Francesco
Oh, I
might be coaching Karn, and then Karn will be coaching you.
And then we go to those 4 people that you told us that will be coaching us on coaching?
Yes, and we will, you guys, I'm gonna write up the 3 names, and you can decide who you want to be a coach. And it just